It's official. Video games are the biggest entertainment medium on the planet.
Thousands of titles.
Millions of players.
Billions of dollars.
But that's not important.
Because it's not the big numbers that make gaming great.
It's the experience.
You already know that, and so do we.
This isn't another show just trying to justify gaming.
What's there to justify? It's awesome.
It is.
No, we're here to cut through the noise.
And speak from our hearts.
About the games that we love,
And even those that we don't.
Because we love games just as much as you.
from Wii Sports
To esports.
From the platformer
To the puzzler, all are welcome in this Video Game Nation. Sunset Overdrive is the eye-popping, car-hopping button basher from Insomniac Games, who made Spyro, Ratchet & Clank and the Resistance series. It's meant to be a punk rock cartoon, even being pitched by Insomniac's creative director Marcus Smith as what if Iggy Pop was the last man on Earth? Despite the fact that if there was an apocalypse, Iggy Pop would be the first human being killed for looking exactly like a zombie, Sunset Overdrive takes this idea and rams it full tilt through the fourth wall, creating a game with its tongue so firmly in its cheek you'll feel it in yours. You are a janitor in Sunset City, working at the launch of Overcharge, the newest energy drink from Fizco, when suddenly mutants overrun the place and it's time to run, flip, thump, shoot, freeze and blow up a game world where friction is your friend, physics are jelly, and everything the Looney Tunes ever told you is completely true. Yep, it's a zombie survival game, but with two twists. The zombies are fueled by Red Bull, and you have superpowers. Why? Because you play video games, of course. And games really do teach life skills. Just think of that the next time you're doing the Mario and headbutting a brick to get money out of it. From the plot to the setting to the gameplay, Sunset Overdrive is a Frankenstein's monster of design influences and pop culture winks. Is there an original concept in there? Well, aside from the initial happy punk meets the apocalypse, not really. This is a joyous triumph of copy and paste. You'll rail grind in a colour-soaked world like in Sega's Jet Set Radio, complete gory challenges like in Mad World, the reincarnation animations of film jokes from Star Trek and classic horror movies. Fall off a ledge? Those portals look a bit familiar. This is a game that knows it's a game and just wants you to grin for a few hours, so it's built from references to other games with a couple of jokes you've heard before, but it's nice to hear again. Your dodge is either Sonic the Hedgehog spin dash or a full-body Hadouken. You can run on water when Christ could just walk, and if the game was serious, why would it have a gun called the Flaming Compensator? Also, the first big boss is a foul-mouthed building-sized advertising blimp, which I can tell you is absolutely excellent. So it looks like a cartoon and it plays like a cartoon, but is it a punk game? No. Despite the fact the soundtrack's got enough thrashy guitar on it to satisfy any Blink-182 fangirl who hasn't already died of old age, for this to be a punk game it would need to gob in your eye and then not apologise for how bad it is. You know, like Sonic Boom. I think one thing to remember is that if this were the 90s, then Sunset Overdrive's Apocalypse with Attitude would be taken completely seriously, when the best part of it is, it's totally ludicrous.
What I enjoy about the Apocalypse in Sunset Overdrive is that it's about wear what you want, do what you want, while you discover you're naturally actually amazing at surviving an apocalypse. I think that's everyone's hope for the apocalypse. They find out they're actually really good at it.
I think the best thing about Sunset Overdrive's Apocalypse is just that it's so awesome and colourful.
It's a view of the end of the world, which says the end of the world is going to be governed by corporations and probably some ridiculous product going terribly wrong and making us all into mutants. And I think that's great. It's so much better than a nuclear war. Nuclear war is so old hat. No one believes that anymore.
In the opening minute, you're just bouncing around this environment. I love that the cars are like bouncy castles and you can grind backwards without losing momentum.
I just don't think that kind of game does anything for me. Like, it's a kind of game that's like, by recognizing its faults, it's allowed to get away with those faults. That's awful. No, you can't do that. I'm not having that.
How does Sunset Overdrive play? Like Sonic the Hedgehog at his fastest, like a pinball machine where it's constantly multi-ball, with a framework that's far cleverer than you expect. Billed as an open-world adventure, Sunset Overdrive is that, but with zero consequences. Not only can you never die, you rarely get sent back to the start of a mission. This is a game that wants you playing and happy the whole time. It's like if you died in another game and Sunset Overdrive is the heaven you go to. Even the plot's deliberately shallow, with characters happily talking about how they just exist because they're in a game. Is it clever or funny? Not really, but it's jolly enough. If you want smart intertextual jokes, Max Payne. There's also none of that getting lost in the desert or trying to jump over a boring mountain that sometimes pulls open world games down. When you travel, all that bouncing and the best wall running mechanic I've ever used keep you propelled and interested, even if you end up not actually exploring much, just picking up a power-up and accidentally hurtling your way to wherever the game wanted you to go. This is the only game ever to send me somewhere I didn't want to be and not have me resent it. You know, like a stepfather was right about summer camp. Trouble is, half of what it wants you to do isn't very interesting. The single player's first hour is loaded with fetch quests, which are often pretty dull reasons to head into the game world, and if you take any time completing them, the game's other characters will pester you with an annoying, repetitive number of voice clips. That said, once you're on the mission where you actually play fetch with a robot dog death machine, that earlier repetition is kind of forgiven. That's what Sunset does. Standard adventure, standard adventure, standard adventure with something special added. The base defense missions are a rare delight, all hyper-violence and upgrades, and I like the way you don't always feel like you're being led somewhere. That is, until the game starts yelling at you. There's also 859 collectibles to pick up while you're pinging off the walls. Is this a fun, though predictable feature, or proof that games have finally reached collectible overkill?
With collectibles, like, it's just something I've never been into. Like, I think it just wrecks games now. Maybe with something like Sunset Overdrive, obviously it works, so that's the point of it.
I think there are way too many collectibles in games. I think it's a cop-out by developers to try and artificially extend the life of their game.
It's not to my taste, and I know it's not to a lot of people's taste. It's kind of busy work.
Like, I've got lots of friends who had to 100% complete Grand Theft Auto, and they couldn't sleep. They couldn't sleep because they're thinking, oh, I'm on 99%.
To be honest with you, I think the only game where I've collected every single thing is Donkey Kong Country on the SNES. And when you complete that, you get 101% with a little asterisk next to the percentage. And I have to say, getting that asterisk was probably the best moment of my life.
Sunset Overdrive is great fun. It's fast, bouncy, plays like several other games, references a fistful of old media, look for the groanable nod to Breaking Bad, and then wraps it all in a frantic, eye-searing package. It's chock full of side missions, fetch quests, upgrades and things to check off. Some are dull, some are amazing, and through it all, it wants to remind you it's just a game. You could say this is the illegitimate kid of Scott Pilgrim or Sonic 2 brought to 3D life, but the most accurate thing I've heard is from my wife, who took one look and said, "Is this GTA for kids?" I'd say, yes.
Yeah, did you see that? You're lucky I was here.
Time to hear from Aoife now, who's looking at the world of games and finding out what's funny and what isn't.
Wait, listen, I'm not Fizco. I'm just here to steal computer parts from you.
How'd you think you were gonna do that when I got this here gun?
Yeah, I got guns too.
Damn! But how do I know you can use them?
I'm an American.
Make 'em laugh. It was all very well for Donald O'Connor to sing that refrain and slapstick his way around a soundstage back in 1952 with Singing in the Rain, but in fairness, he was talking about Hollywood, not games. Comedy is difficult enough when you've got an audience sitting, arms crossed, waiting for you to entertain them, but when a player is an active participant in making themselves laugh, things get a little bit more complicated.
Sunset Overdrive's knowing brand of humour, the game regularly breaks the fourth wall to address players and acknowledge the fact that it is a game.
How convenient.
Sending up many tropes and cliches in the process has been hit and miss with players. Some delight in the sense that they're part of an inside joke, others just find it a little bit forced. Going down the comedy route in games is a difficult tightrope to walk, and often games that attempt to poke fun at themselves just end up being tedious by design. Far Cry Blood Dragon, for example, made fun of the repetition of tutorials by forcing players to go through them, which works on paper but has all the subtlety of being hit over the head with a sledgehammer and is about as fun to play to boot.
To look around, look around.
This is not cool.
There are plenty of games that are funny, GTA 5 for example, but they wouldn't exactly be considered comedy games. Then you have games that are definitely not funny, but have plenty of out-of-place humorous moments. The dog ending from Silent Hill 2 springs to mind.
Comedy is very rarely the main thrust of a game. It's usually seen as incidental to the shooting or the exploring or whatever else is going on. The golden age of funny games was undoubtedly the avalanche of point-and-click adventures from the likes of Tim Schafer and Ron Gilbert, Monkey Island and Day of the Tentacle. Monkey Island in particular made humorous quips part of the gameplay, with insult sword fighting.
You have the manners of a beggar. I am rubber, you are glue.
Generally, games that focus on comedy tend to be either heavily scripted and dialogue-based, like the terrifically funny Portal 2 and the more recent South Park The Stick of Truth, or they're all about slapstick, like Octodad Deadliest Catch, Surgeon Simulator, and the free browser-based Quap.
That's not to say there's never an overlap in styles, of course. Portal 2 again uses the ever-present tutorial as a way of making the player the punchline of the joke.
Do you understand what I'm saying at all? Does any of this make any sense? Just tell me, just say yes. Okay, what you're doing there is jumping. You just jumped.
But in the absence of games made specifically to be funny, often the most laugh-out-loud moments in gaming are found in the most unexpected places.
PC mods, for example, produce glitches in gameplay that are ridiculously funny. You need only watch the videos of GTA 4's Magical Princess Punnykins to see how much the right mod in the wrong context can tickle your funny bone. And even the recent palaver over Assassin's Creed Unity's bugginess produced some very funny moments, with videos emerging that showed NPCs popping up and randomly heckling Arno during a cutscene, or glitching through the floor or racing around as though on a go-kart.
Sunset Overdrive's on-the-nose comedy may be hit and miss for some, but it's good to see a shooter that embraces the silly, instead of giving us another grim and gritty game that takes itself way too seriously. Titles that exist to make us titter may still be few and far between, but here's hoping soon we'll see more games that are played for laughs.
Get out there and show me what you can do. And don't worry about dying. That looks good on camera too.
Thanks, because I wasn't already creeped out enough by you.
Break time now. When we come back, the talking heads chat guns, 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 and a speedrun test determines who's the roadrunner of the VGN team and who's the Wile E. Coyote. See you in a bit.
I don't know much about guns, but when you shoot it, people die.
Hello. Monkey Life starts Monday at 6 on Pig.
Welcome back, television friend. Hi, Def. High five. At this point, the fourth wall has been demolished. Energy drinks mean that our heart rates are dead, and there are still enemies everywhere. What's the only reasonable solution? Of course, guns.
For me, what makes a gaming weapon really great is when it keys into the story and the character. It's got a fictional context in the world. It has an iconic model, so to look at it, it's not just another gun. And it creates a kind of gameplay that's really particular and unique to that game. So the kind of things I'm thinking of are the plasma cutter in Dead Space, for instance, which relates to the character of Isaac Clarke, but is also iconic looking and creates a certain kind of gameplay with the strategic dismemberment, or something like the gravity gun in Half-Life 2, or obviously the portal gun in Portal.
For me, like, being able to use a gaming weapon in a way that maybe it's not meant to be used, or you think you're finding the first ever way that that's been used before, and like, the best example of that is Hotline Miami, because that just chucks its weapons everywhere, and like, you think that you've got the best possible score by, you know, going around doing all these different combos and things, and then all of a sudden you'll go back to it and be like, right, now we're going to introduce a sledgehammer to that, and now you can do it with a sledgehammer.
I think a gaming weapon, in order to be great, has to be ridiculously big, ridiculously destructive, and really, really quick to reload.
I think what makes a great gaming weapon is one that's satisfying to use. And for me, I really know when I've got a great weapon when I find myself sort of talking to the enemies as I'm shooting, sort of going, blam, there you go. Blam, would you like some more? Blam, how about some more? Blam, goodbye. That's how I know it's a great weapon.
What makes a gaming weapon really great, I think it has to be in the right game and has to come at the right point in the game. I think there's a point just near the end of every game where it should give you a weapon that's so overpowered that it makes the game incredibly easy but incredibly fun. If you just give the player an actual superpower, then you make them feel incredibly powerful. I think making the player feel powerful, that's the key to any good weapon.
You know, I think some of my favourite gaming weapons are in the 2013 Tomb Raider, because they're actually this really important part of the story. You pick up each and every one of them on a character beat. They're all part of Lara's journey through that game. A bow and arrow is something I'm always partial to, whether it's a Zelda game or anything else, but I think, you know, fire arrows in that game every single time I used it, I was thinking about like what that actually meant. And I think it's really rare that you see weapons that are able to do that.
Well, if I'm going to be technical about it, I would say my favourite weapon ever is the M4A1 from the Call of Duty Modern Warfare games, because it has low recoil, high ammo capacity, and a really, really fast reload. That's really important, you know, if you're playing Call of Duty. That's a really boring answer, but that's a fact. That's the weapon I always go to. It's the weapon I've probably held more than any other video game weapon in the world. But yeah, I think really though my favourite weapon ever was the laser whip combination from Bulletstorm. But it had this weapon system where you had a very big gun, but you also had this laser whip which could whip onto enemies and then drag them into the air. And you could either freeze them in the air and then shoot them a bit some more, and then drag them over a bit and then kick them in the face. Or you could just sort of leave them there hanging and electrify them or something.
My favourite gaming weapon of all time is in Rainbow Islands, very, very old Sinclair and Amstrad game, where you actually got to use rainbows as weapons. That's brilliant. And so you've got all these little cute sort of cartoon spiders and flying like toy planes, and you're just like, blam, there's a rainbow, you're dead.
I'm going to say the portal gun. Can I say the portal gun? I know it's not, well, it's a gun in that it fires things. I know you're not using it offensively, but I think that's what makes it so brilliant. It kind of inverts so many gun game kind of tropes, but at the same time, it is a gun that you shoot things with.
Half-Life 2's Magnum, it's such an unassuming little gun. It's a Magnum, it's like a Colt. I don't know much about guns, but when you shoot it, people die.
I think the most unconventional weapon I've come across in a game is something I can't actually describe on television. Let's say it's a bat that is made of something bats shouldn't be made of.
Most unconventional weapon that I've come across in a game. Do you remember a game called Armed and Dangerous? It was like a third-person shooter which had a weapon called the land shark cannon, which would fire a land shark out of a gun into the ground. And if you don't know what land sharks are, they're sharks that can swim through earth, and their fins pop up and they navigate towards an enemy, and then a shark will burst from the ground and eat the person that you pointed the gun at. It was amazing.
I did like the weapon in the Ratchet and Clank games where like you would sort of like shoot a disco ball and it would like make the enemy's disco dance. It was completely sort of useless and ineffective as an actual weapon, but it was good.
I think the most unconventional weapon is stuff you just find in the world. The very, one of the final bosses in Hotline Miami, I think you have to kill some panthers with a trophy.
I would say the series with the sort of best weapons overall has to be Worms, because they're just some fantastic ones in that. I used to particularly like the Holy Hand Grenade, just because it just created literally a massive hole in whatever you threw it at, and that was deeply satisfying. And I really liked the Super Sheep, where like you had to use the arrow keys. It was on PC, and you had to like fly it, and it would go as you sort of more weapons should go as you fire them. I feel like that's more interesting.
Sunset Overdrive. If I wanted to see a city filled with people who'd been turned into slobbering monsters after a few drinks, I'd just go back to Wolverhampton on a Saturday night. Thank you, good night. Mind you, making your way around Sunset City is a lot more fun than getting your head around Wolverhampton's bus network. Drawing influence from the likes of Mirror's Edge, Jet Set Radio and Infamous, Sunset Overdrive's momentum-based navigation is ultra-fluid and super stylish. With that in mind, I've invited a motley crew of VGN regulars here to my secret cinema dungeon to tackle a challenge that's built entirely around the game's extreme approach to traversal on the big screen. Influenced by classic film The Warriors and one unfortunate night out in Wolverhampton city centre, our challenger's task is to get from one side of the extremely hostile city to the other as quickly as they can. Starting from here, each player will have to grind, bounce and blast their merry way to the top of the castle in the amusement arcade on the other side of town. All routes are permitted, fastest time wins. Let's get to it.
Right, let's do this. Let's do it. I'm gonna be so awful.
I hated fun runs at school. I've never driven a car. I have no idea how to navigate anywhere. And now I've been given the opportunity to fail at something in a cinema the same way I failed with my girlfriend Vanessa at uni.
Right, here we go. on my at least third go on this game, so I'm expecting to do incredibly well.
I'm going to head straight for the castle as quickly as I can.
Come on, game. I've just done a review saying you're good. Don't let me down.
Oh, wait, you can boost. That's handy.
There's a lot of grinding in this game.
All I'm trying to do is go 2,000 metres in one direction, which my high school physical education teacher will tell you I am incapable of doing.
Tell you what though, it does give you an idea of just how massive the map is in this game as well. I think as the crow flies, it's only like 1.5 kilometres, but it's huge, and there's so much visual variety as well.
I'm away! I wish we could do this instead of get the tube in the morning.
In a game that's essentially a pinball machine, I've managed to get lost. This is genius. Do pinballs get lost? Righto.
Oh no, that was bad, that was bad. Get up, get off your feet, get off your feet. Oh no. Yes, no. Stop doing the things you're doing. Obey me.
I'm just gonna go straight towards it. Whee! No, run faster.
Oh God, there's some there's some guys who bought a copy of Destiny, just walking along looking a bit upset.
Cross, I'm not going to make that jump. Oh, trees are bouncy as well. Of course they are.
Right, there it is. I can see the roller coaster in the background. Heading straight for it. Go, 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 go. Faster.
It's in sight. I can see it. Go, 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 go.
Go, 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 go.
Now this is the trick, isn't it? Because you think, oh, I've got to the castle, and then it's the roller coaster. No, get onto the roller coaster.
Okay, here we go. So I'm get on the damn tracks. Oh, crumbs.
Here we are, here we are. With this one. Done it, but that's a record-breaking time. That has to be. That was perfect.
Faster, damn you! Ah! I refuse to be beaten by the one who looks like Zachary Quinto and the one who looks like she's been genetically engineered.
I'm holding X, grind it. Oh my goodness me. Right. It's all about this. Yes! That was all right, I think. I think that was all right.
Is that where we're going? Is that the turret? No? No, that's... Oh! Wrong turret!
Go, 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 go. On this one here. Yes. Yes. Wait, am I on the right turret? Is that it? Did I do it? Yes! I did it! Beat that.
Okay, and yes! Come on! Just stare at that wall.
Well, congratulations, Steve. For your efforts, you win nothing. Well, unless incurring my wrath counts as a prize. Spoiler, it doesn't. Here's John with his final thoughts.
And that is all from us this week. If you've got an opinion on Sunset Overdrive, tweet at us at #VGN. Drop by the Facebook page for all the inside goss, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you.